Welcome to another good e-reader review video. This is Marcus.
And this is Peter.
Okay, and today we're going to give you a full review of the Pocketbook Pro 612, and this is an upgraded version of the Pocketbook
602.
Okay, so this is not seen a widespread North American release as of yet, but we've heard that sometime in the early 2012 we should see it. Let's give you some quick hardware stats before we dive right into how it visually looks and functions. It's a 6-inch e-ink Visplex display. So it's not Pearl, it is an earlier iteration. 800 by 600 resolution with 166 dpi. It's running on a 533 megahertz CPU processor and 256 MB of RAM. Not kind of light on the RAM. You know, a lot of e-readers we're seeing nowadays has 512 built into it. So we'll see how it works with paltry amount of RAM, 2 gigs of internal storage, Linux operating system. You charge it via the micro USB cable that comes with it, and incidentally that's how you also transfer media such as audiobooks, music, ebooks, PDFs, all that jazz. It certainly supports a wide array of ebook formats: PDF, EPUB, FB2 text, RTF, HTML, a ton of others. Also, reads a standard visual files, JPEG, BMP, PNG, and TIFF. You have roughly about a month of battery life. It takes roughly about 4 to 5 hours to fully charge it, and Pocketbook is known for a wide selection of languages. You know, everything from French, Italian, Spain, Dutch, and so on. So Peter here is going to show you some of the hardware features.
So you're probably thinking, what is this stylus doing next to a 602? And in fact, this is indeed a 612. The shell is exactly the same, except one of the differences in just me holding it right now is that it is a little bit heavier than the 602 due to there being a touchscreen. On the top is also different. You see that you have a wireless connectivity switch that can go from on to off. So as Marcus said, this has a month worth of battery, and you can really get the full potential out of it. If you turn off that wireless connectivity, there will be virtually nothing draining this device, so it'll last more than you'll ever need it to without having to charge it. Same power button. You do have a little widened bump here because this accepts the stylus that comes with the device, so that's different as well.
And I really like devices that actually have a slot for the stylus. Do you remember that a Sony PRS-T1 came with a stylus, but there was nowhere to actually hold on the device?
That was absolutely ridiculous, whereas the 650 and the 350 all had styluses that were built into the top. It didn't make any sense having this large pencil that came with it. But anyway, the left here, nothing on the side. The right, nothing on the side. You'll see on the 903 and the 902 and the 912 that there is a volume up, volume down, and a zoom button. But on this one, you do not have that. On the bottom, you have stereo speakers, which are really nice. You don't see a lot of e-readers and tablets with stereo speakers. Hard reset button, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, LED indicator, micro USB, micro SD. And that's about it, other than the differences between the two, the 602 and the 612's shell.
If people aren't familiar with the notion of a hard reset, what is that, just quickly?
Basically, when something happens to your device and you can't really touch anything, touching this, the power button, nothing works, what you would do is you would get a pin or sim or equivalent and poke a very deep button in there, and it will reset your device. It kind of overrides any of the buttons you can have easy access to, and it kind of just reboots your device, essentially, if there's something wrong with it.
All right, well said. So let's power this on and show everybody kind of what it looks like on a software level, how ebooks look, pictures look, and all of that. So yeah, same form factor as the earlier model. You have, despite the fact that it is touchscreen, you still have the manual buttons. And I like devices that have touchscreen but also has manual buttons too, because let's face it, with a stylus that you will lose it. And I've lost many stylus with devices. When we reviewed the EEE Note, once you lose that stylus, you can't interact with the device at all. And so, at least if you do lose it, you can still interact with the device via the D-pad and other buttons here. So let's take a look at some of the features here on the device.
All right. Well, I know that it is a smaller device, but this does still display PDFs to a certain degree, and although a larger screen would be good, this does support it, and it does. You do have a lot of options with it. Unlike Amazon Kindle, which is basically just a PDF viewer, this you can actually format it. You can do word reflow. You can format it properly so that you can actually read it and zoom in to your to whatever setting you actually like. For example, right here we're looking at a newspaper and it is formatted properly. You're maximizing the small screen's real estate, and yeah, I think it looks really good.
Yeah, totally. So this is we in during our other side by side comparisons, we actually turn reflow on. Let's turn reflow off and just show them what it looks like with no customizations or anything. And incidentally, this is the one thing I like about Pocketbook e-readers is that it does give you a ton of different options for like zooming and everything like that. So this is what it'll look like on its own as a PDF document. And you saw that we got a ton of different reflow options, more than a lot of other devices. So you can really kind of tailor your PDF experience and kind of hit that sweet spot, as it were. So, a lot of different percentages. And yeah, so this is what it looks like for a standard newspaper. And so I know a lot of people ask us, how do PDFs look? So this is what it looks like on the latest and greatest. What else are we going to show them?
Let's go into a PDF comic really quickly here, just to show you what a side-loaded graphic novel looks like. You'll notice that the formatting is a little bit off because this is probably a scanned copy, but knowing Pocketbook, there are enough options to probably get you through it. So you'll notice that you do have quite a bit of options here, an array of zooming options. So let's just go 150 here for a second. And there you go. It's zoomed in enough so that you can actually read it, and you'll notice that the resolution, although it isn't Pearl, that's not to say that this screen isn't bad, because that it isn't good. I'm sorry, because it is a very good screen and has tremendous resolution.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't read like CBZ or any of the popular comic book formats, but we know that a lot of comic books these days are being converted to JPEG. So, you can convert your, comics to JPEG and get your full experience by there. But, when we've, just zoomed it in, and we haven't really messed around with getting the sweet spot, but I'm really sure that with a little bit of configurations, you could make it fully full screen and do that. So, no worries there. So yeah, we've taken a look at newspapers and comic books. How does an EPUB file look, or an ebook?
Well, I will show you. The Pocketbook line of any e-reader basically comes bundled with tons of books, but we will show one we've sideloaded in just to show you what most of the users will probably use it for. Once again, very good resolution. This is an EPUB book. Let's get into some text here.
Yeah, I mean, as many e-readers as we review, I'm constantly amazed on how great and high-res images, it looks in here.
Exactly. Once again, tons of zoom options. You can just do so much with the device.
One thing I've noticed with the new line of Pocketbook e-readers is because these are not really commercial release, that EPUBs don't really have the zoom options yet. We noticed this in the 912 and in this one as well. So unfortunately we don't have like a lot of cool EPUB things to show you right now, but that's just because the firmware is a little bit buggy.
This is, once again, although this is the 612, this is a pre-retail release. We have been given a pre-release exclusive unit. I believe it came stock with the Ukrainian language. This is not the experience that you will get right off the shelves. This is just for us to review.
Yeah, I mean, as always at Good E-Reader, we always, we try our best to really kind of break these new devices for you before they're actually out, so you can get a sense on like what to expect for the commercial release. So, as always, we're constantly getting the latest and greatest here and being able to show you, the points to them so you can kind of budget effectively in a long term if you need to save some money up for it, or if you're just doing some competitive research and saying, okay, what's the difference between this e-reader and this e-reader? This is what we always try to provide for you during our review videos, certainly with our pre-release ones.
Exactly. Along with the books that comes preloaded, we do have a ton of pictures that come preloaded too. So just to get a full look on the resolution, it's absolutely flawless. It's very clear. That's just a very close shot. It looks great.
Okay. I saw you tilting it in a direction or two. How does this look on landscape and portrait mode?
Well, let me show you here. Taking a second to go home. Alright, seems that the orientation is locked, so what you have to do in this case is go to Configuration, go to Appearance, and you'll notice that screen orientation is stuck on portrait. Well, this shouldn't be the case because I just clicked it again, because the 612 actually has a built-in gyroscope and accelerometer, so it's as easy as tilting it.
You probably have to go to like the home menu for like all this to refresh.
Good call. Yes, indeed. Unlike most e-readers that go landscape portrait, this goes landscape portrait and 360 degrees all the way around. Unlike most 6-inch e-readers, this indeed does go the full 360.
I noticed from landscape to portrait, it went pretty quickly.
It does indeed, yes.
Okay, so what are some of the other features that you find here? Does this say have like a built-in web browser to take advantage of the Wi-Fi or anything like that?
Exactly. Once on the 602, you'll notice that it has wireless connectivity but no web browser, whereas this one does indeed have a web browser. All you have to do is go to the Applications menu. At the very bottom, you'll see a web browser. Click on that. Scanning for networks. Let's click on this one. This is the same wireless connection we've always used here at Good eReader, so it shouldn't be any faster or slower than before.
One of the new things on the web browser is that it actually has some HTML5 support. Although being sort of like a first-gen firmware version, there are a number of like errors and things. You can see we see some error messages like at the top and stuff like that. But you do have like a full keyboard. It's pretty easy to type. And we're just going to type in Good eReader space blog and see what comes up. So do the space and put blog there.
I was in the address bar actually,
Oh.
so I'll move down here.
So you see kind of like each letter that you type is like highlighted because of like the refresh issues with like e-ink, and you see the sort of the ghosting of the keyboard here. So I'm noticing that just sort of like happens with like the web browser with the ghosting. I think once you type it in, you have to press that key there and then press search. But typing in words, you see that it's actually pretty quick as far as what's happening like on the search bar when he's typing. And then press search.
Oh, so the first enter button.
Yeah, just sort of like yeah, exactly. So we'll see how long it takes to load. Of course, with our goodereader.com, there's a lot of images and things like that. So you will have to exercise a little bit of patience with web pages that have a high degree of CSS images and things like that. So again, first generation, it'll take a while.
Did I even press it though?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I think so because yes, there we go.
Okay, so obviously things aren't centered right or anything like that, but there are like a lot of zooming options that you could do in order to get a bit of an ebook experience. I've actually kind of surprised when you hit the preferences menu about how many different preferences that you got. You can change the zooming, the font size, and things like that. But I would say that the Pocketbook, this version, really kind of suffers from the web browsing experience is not that great. It's kind of slow. It's a little bit tedious, as you can kind of see. We're hitting things, nothing's really moving. But I'd rather a web browser that's slow than no web browser at all.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it all comes down to it that the web browser is here, and you'll see I just scrolled it there. But yes, I mean it is here, and it is ready to be refined upon later firmware updates. So at least you have one. Yes.
Okay, so let's try hitting the menu button here and seeing if we could, just quickly check it out how the preferences look, just to give our viewers how the experience has kind of changed. So you could check out your home page. Yeah, you could set your home page. Let's check out appearance. See what kind of options we have there. So you could check out the default fonts, and as always, Pocketbook has a wide array of font options. Minimum font sizes. So we can make it so if you love coming to the GoodyReader.com family of sites, so our forum, our blog, you can check out our retail sponsor shopereaders.com. So for the holidays, if you want to purchase this new line of Pocketbook e-readers, Shop e-readers is soon going to be stocking them. So if you like what you see, the only place that you could really buy them in North America is via Shop e-readers. So you can do cookies, you can enable HTML5 support. So of course, like all models, you can listen to music, you can play some games. It is running the Linux operating system, of course, so there's a lot of options here. Let's just head her home and we'll wrap this up. So what are your thoughts overall, Peter, with the latest edition of the Pocketbook family?
Well, it being the same processor, have the same RAM, and the same storage as the 602, I'm not really seeing anything too different, minus the web browser. And I do feel that the usage of the stylus is a little bit tedious as you try to type things, as you try to navigate through menus. I think it is a little bit easier to utilize the physical buttons as it is a little bit more responsive. The device is heavier. It does have a wireless on and off switch, which is really good, and I really agree with that, because if you want to turn it off, flick a switch and there it goes. You do have a stylus. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. It does make things easier, but honestly, yeah, I really like what I see. They're obviously going in the right direction while introducing the touchscreen, but I really wish they upped the power of it so it can really utilize it properly.
Yeah, looking at Pocketbook's pipeline or roadmap going into 2012, it does look like that they are working on next-gen releases of the 6-inch and 9-inch that has 3G, higher processing power, and other things like that. So, in 2012, Pocketbook will be releasing new versions of this that will have higher processing power, more RAM. So it'll obviously probably increase the cost a little bit, but you can see that this is the Pocketbook's new line. This is the 912 and
the 612.
So yeah, I mean, this is what you can expect from Pocketbook going forward. Again, these are only available in Europe right now, and more particularly in the Ukraine and Russia, but we should see a North American release. The only thing really sending it back is the prices. When you look at the $79 Kindle, the Nook Simple Touch being $99 now, it's hard for independent companies to come and compete on the level while still offering great hardware. If you want to cut corners, you can get the AllureTech Libra or you could get the JetBook Mini. But I mean, or like the B-Book Club S, which we've tried the review, but it doesn't even get past the boot menu. So of course you can cut corners and offer devices at a cheap price, but you suffer on the hardware level. And I really respect what Pocketbook is doing. While they're not trying to cut corners on the hardware, they're offering great products. Full stereo, audio, onboard audio, touchscreen devices. You're paying a little bit more, but you're getting indie level quality. And so I really dig the fact that Pocketbook is providing great e-readers at affordable prices, but not trying to cut corners and compete with the big boys by offering crappy hardware. So review video of the Pocketbook 612. For more, you can check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/goodereader, or you can check out our blog for all the latest news, reviews, and previews at goodereader.com/blog. And for Goody Reader, my name is Marcus.
This is Peter.
Everybody take care.